What did I do? I did that. Dude. Why am I not seeing myself on camera? Why am I seeing absolutely nothing? Why wouldn't this just fucking work the way I want it to work? All right, I can see myself there, but I can't see myself on the screen. Why not? Why not? And magically, I appear. Oh, yeah. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the Monday Night Chill Stream. We are Monday Night Chill Stream because I worked all weekend. Where'd I go? I went to Virginia on Saturday and then Albany last night. So, an Albany job. Albany's not that far, but and it's really a straight shot up the New York State Thruway. But the job came late, so by the time I got up there, it was like 12:30 in the morning or something, like 12:30 at night. By the time I got home, it was like 4 in the morning. And I did the bare minimum I had to do today because I just it's my one day off, and I did a little car maintenance, I did a little house maintenance, and I did like nothing else, and I did nothing else. And so, but I was like, well, hey, hey, now we got to do the Monday Night Chill Stream because there's people waiting for their weekly dose of anti-Semitism that is not that's not a controlled opposition thing like whatever Nick Fuentes and all those other guys. It's funny. I was thinking about Culture Thug and like guys like OB and fucking Norman and stuff, and all those people. Like, what are they doing now? I don't know. Like, I lost track. I think I blocked Norman and the other ones, but I wonder, like, what are they doing now? Because it seems like everything. Although it may just be my feed, but it seems like they're trying to take Nick Fuentes to the next level. I've seen these crazy bullshit fucking Instagram reels where they say like Bibi Netanyahu's afraid of Nick Fuentes, and all the bots they got working for him are always like Christ is king, Christ is king, Christ is king, in all the comments. So they're really pushing that. And Nick Fuentes has been going after both Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, hammer and tongs. And his success, you got to think, when he was teamed up with Agent Jungle Milk, when Catboy was teamed up with Agent Jungle Milk, they took down Kanye West pretty effectively. And I think they think he can do that again to Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, but I don't think he's that capable. I mean, Kanye, not much of a target, not much of a fairly easy, you know what I mean? 2 against 1 kind of thing, and then Kanye's not that smart. So yeah, so they're trying to build him up. I don't know that that's going to work quite to the degree that they wanted to, but whatever. They're going to do what they're going to do. They really only have 1 or 2 playbooks, 1 or 2 plays out of the playbook, and there isn't much they can do. And they got to keep trying, right? They want their paycheck. They got to keep trying. In the meantime, there's so much, man. There's like literally so much. I got so much stuff. So much stuff. What's the biggest deal? What's the biggest deal? We all knew this was coming. Well, you knew this. It should have been kind of obvious that this was coming. Why is that not popping up? Why is that screen share not popping up? Hey, taking plenty fucking long time. Justice Department reaches out to Ghislaine Maxwell, a long-time Epstein associate. So, they're going to let Ghislaine Maxwell. See, they already moved it to some minimum security place in Texas, and to dodge the politics, they're going to have the Supreme Court review the case or whatever, and then give her the pardon. That way it doesn't hurt Trump politically. Although Trump is fairly well heard politically. This was a meme that I thought was pretty good. You know, it's fun when people do simple stuff. That why is it not showing up? Come on, show up. It's fun when people do, simple wordplay that's memorable is very, very good. So, it said, what MAG has understood, I will release the pedo files. What Trump was really saying is, I will release the pedophiles. So, it's absolutely fun when people do stuff that simple and that memorable. That's fun. Virgil Doc, Purple Heart, welcome to the show, sir. We got two people here just a few minutes ago. I had a fucking video. I think the show should run better technologically than it did last week. The reason why is because I remembered to dump all the videos and stuff that I show and the screen shares. I load them up onto StreamYard and I dump them off my phone because it takes up resources and slows everything down. So I didn't do that last week. I did that this week, and fingers crossed, it goes as planned. It doesn't, although it's not going as smoothly as I'd like it. It's not going as smoothly ever, really, as I'd like to go. But I'm being very hodgepodge lately. I'm not being. I don't think doing all of this stuff extemporaneously. I guess the nature of it, you're always going to be all over the place. But yeah, I figures. If I could just remember to consistently do the basics, I should get there. I should fucking get there. Speaking of which, all of the stuff that I mentioned you just keep seeing more and more evidence that I'm paying attention to the right things and I'm drawing the right conclusions. And that may look like I have the ability to fucking know the future. I don't know the future. I just pay attention to the right things and I draw the right conclusions. All the stuff about my favorite, one of my favorite punching bags, Elon Musk. It says Elon Musk is turning U.S. liberals not off just Tesla, but electric vehicles in general. And how are you going to get Chinese cars, Chinese electric vehicles into America without turning the electrical vehicles that we already have into Nazi wagons, right? You don't want to be driving around in Hitler's minivan. You know what I mean? Nobody wants that. It's gonna go badly for you. So that, putting his Nazi or whatever, his anti-Semitic AI in your car is just going to make everyone not want them. And then, they'll reintroduce them as clean Chinese. They're not tainted. They're not tainted with hatred. They don't have the stigma of hatred. But the stigma of hatred, I think is alive and well. The other thing that happened earlier in the week in New York City was the CEO of Blackstone was shot to death by a black male who they say got off on the elevator on the wrong floor because he wanted to kill people from the NFL, but he accidentally killed the CEO of Blackstone instead. Blackstone and BlackRock actually used to be one company about 30 years ago, but they split into two separate companies. But Wesley LePatner, she's Jewish, she ended up catching a couple of rounds and she died. And there was a couple of different photos of her, but you want to look at this one. Fuck my voice. You want to look at this one because if you do that green line analysis, fuck me, my voice. If you do the green line analysis, she's standing straight up. And I don't know who that guy is, if it's her husband or whatever, but he's leaning into her. So she was really the dominant, the absolutely dominant person in that photo. I fucking hope literally my voice just wants to go out now. I don't know if that's It's too late. It's 10. It's 11 minutes after 10 o'clock at night. The pollen is done. Once the sun goes down, there's no more fucking pollen. But that should, in theory, keep my fucking voice from going. But I don't know if the pollen just sticks around on my fucking vocal cords for an extra 10 fucking minutes until I start talking. But I was moving shit all day today. I was doing a whole bunch of stuff. Fuck, I should not have. Well, whatever. My problems are my problems. But yeah, so they're trying to say that guy was angry at the NFL, but he never played pro ball. He's a high school football guy. Some Dindu who apparently Blackstone had made some kind of deal. He lived in Vegas. Blackstone did something with real estate in Vegas, and that apparently set him off. And then he comes to New York, finds the building, finds her, and then they say he shot himself in the chest with an AR pattern rifle, which doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you put it underneath your chin? I don't know, and I don't think that anybody ever does that. I don't think men commit suicide that way. Women might, because they don't want to ruin their faces. Even in death, they want to look attractive. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know who really shot him in the chest. Maybe whatever. Maybe the cops. Maybe he sat there exhausted. He'd accomplished his mission. A lot of these spree shooters, once they pop one or two people, they don't think beyond the crime. They don't think, how am I going to get away with this? They don't think any of that stuff. They're just, driven by rage or outrage or whatever, and then they get the thing done, and now they don't know what to do afterwards. And so he may have been sitting there, in the lobby of this fucking building when the NYPD showed up and just blasted him. And they make up whatever story they want. They're really trying to convince people this is not another CEO murder, but that I don't think anybody's buying. I don't think anybody's buying. And the thing that makes me think of is that the fucking dude, the one they said was the communist mastermind, Saul Alinsky, yeah, the one that Hillary Clinton loved. Hillary Clinton was an acolyte of him, and he said it's not the power you have, it's the power they think you have. And I suspect that it's not the power. The power that right now, or the fear that the CEO class has, has got to be really, really high. Because I think all this stuff in the media is not designed to convince you or me, but it's designed to assuage the fears of the CEO class. And I don't think that's going to work for a bunch of different reasons. But I really don't think it's going to work. What did I put up here? What did I put up here? Oh yeah, this just another, again, this is me kind of taking a little victory lap here. I told you TikTok was not Chinese spyware. Oracle software, Oracle, which is a software company that has ties to the CIA, and Larry Ellison, who's Jewish and the 7th or 8th richest man on the planet Earth. His servers host the TikTok app in America. So it's 100% a CIA operation, but TikTok has hired Erica Mindell, a former Israeli occupation force soldier, to run hate speech enforcement. That means silencing Palestinians. Her job was built by the ADL, pays up to $330,000 a year, and she openly flaunted her Zionist identity in an AJC video. I don't know what that means. I don't know what American Jewish Committee. Is that what it stands for? American Jewish Committee. So yeah, TikTok is not Chinese spyware. It was never Chinese spyware. That story is, you're going to have to grow accustomed to things sort of appearing and disappearing by magic. It's going to be super obvious when this happens. TikTok, we got to ban it. We got to do this. We get out. It's Chinese spyware. It was never Chinese spyware. It was never Chinese spyware. And they're just going to come up with something, pitch it out there. Maybe it sticks. Maybe it doesn't stick. Maybe people buy it. Maybe they don't buy it. But at the end of the day, they'll just change change the story like it never happened. Here's the other bit. Ghislaine Maxwell transferred to a less restrictive prison after DOJ meeting. So what they're saying is, hang on, hun. You know what I mean? Hang on for a little bit. She's doing about as much time as I guess the January 6th people. And hang on, and we'll get you out of here. It's going to be over soon. So just keep your mouth shut, play by the rules, and you'll be out of here really quick. Really quick. What else? Other stuff. And this, you have to recognize that things like this, and I said this, that AI is going to replace your job, especially if your job is a white collar job. The less actual work involved in your position, those high salary, middle management positions and management positions that people think they have that are so great, they're all going to be replaced by AI. And the CEO that brags that he gets extremely excited firing people and replacing them with AI is the same CEO who's hiding underneath his desk when he reads about the Blackstone lady. You know what I mean? That same guy, when he sees this story, he's popping whatever fucking pills, whatever happy pills they fucking take to keep themselves on a relatively even keel. But being able to see all this stuff, is not super hard. Just you got to keep it in mind what you're watching over and over again, and it gets easier. Things get funnier. It gets that's if you have a plan. Here's another person talking about Blackstone. Blackstone, largest private investment firm in the world. United Healthcare, largest private healthcare insurance corporation in the world. CEOs from both companies have been targeted and shot dead. My brain's pattern recognition is on alert. So and so should yours be. So should yours be. That CIA thing, I don't have that. I had a video. Some Chinese woman said, "Fucking." I don't know how I lost the fucking video. The CIA is trying to recruit Chinese in China to spy for the CIA, and their messaging is like, you work your entire life to make a few people at the top super rich, blah 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 blah. And the woman keeps herself on screen, and she's like, "This is crazy." She said, "This is exactly like they don't understand. They're actually talking about America." And I don't have the video, but I grabbed a screen share of the comment section, and the comment section just fucking nailed it. American propaganda is so full of projection. Every accusation is a confession. You might have heard that one before. Definitely talking about the USA, 1000% projection. The people in charge are wildly fucking out of touch, and they're getting so much shit so fucking wrong. It's going to be fun to watch them fucking stumble and fumble over things that really should be totally in their control. The other thing is, and this in terms of narrative control, this is where they really don't fucking have it at all. I've said that the MMA, the UFC guys are fucking key to fucking political power. The White House is going to have an MMA event on the White House lawn sometime next year. All these guys, all of whom are like ex-champions but have drug problems and criminal convictions, they all want to be part of that because it's going to be historic. But the connection between the popularity of MMA and political success in the White House is fucking enormous. That's why I tell you to watch that movie Gladiator. Watch the movie Gladiator, the original one with Russell Crowe, and listen to them talk about politics. Follow it. Watch the movie for the politics. Politics goes against them. You know what I mean? In the film Gladiator, there's one scene where Russell Crowe's kind of getting his crew of gladiator slaves together, and they're supposed to reenact a historical battle. And in the historical battle, Rome wins and the enemy loses. And Russell Crowe and his guys are the enemy. They're supposed to lose, except, like I said, Russell Crowe's got his guys kind of clued in. He tells them what moves to make and when to make those moves. And they go out there, and Rome loses. and the crowd cheers. And Joaquin Phoenix, who's playing the Emperor, says, didn't Rome win that battle in history? And they're like, yes. And they're like, yes, Emperor. And they're like, well, why are they cheering if Rome lost? And they're like, we don't know. And here's a great example of Rome losing. This guy, they're really hammering him over this. This guy's name is Bryce Mitchell, and he just won. I don't know if he won a championship or whatever over in Saudi Arabia or Abu Dhabi or something like that. And after he beat his opponent, he said, "From the river to the sea, Palestine is free." Not quite the exact phrasing, but this is a problem that the critical element of MMA fighters, the MMA fighters themselves, have sympathies which are the antithesis of what the narrative is. And that guy wins. You know what I mean? He's one of those little shrimpy dudes who's like, almost unbeatable. Apparently he's a little bit of a kook. He's like a flat earther. He believes that, I don't know what the fuck maybe he really does believe the earth is flat. But that doesn't matter. As long as he flattens, as long as when they're in the octagon, he flattens you and then he says free Palestine, they got huge fucking problems. And these problems they're really worldwide. Now again, my phone's freezing up again. Now I don't even have the excuse of too much stuff on the fucking, too much stuff on the, not that I'm overloading it. I'm not doing that. I swear. Oh man. What do I do now? How do I get out of this? How do I get out of this pickle that I have put myself? I'm in a pickle. Here, hello. Okay, this is getting closer.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Post it wherever you can.
I will.
Gotta get the word going, all right?
Yes.
Gotta stop this craziness.
Yeah.
Horrible.
I appreciate you guys so much.
Oh.
Thank you.
Appreciate you too.
So the Code Pink communist actually decided that she likes some of her neighbors, which is a new one. I don't need to see that. Now, how do I get to fucking goddamn it? I'm in the video section, but I can't. I wanted to almost do this like in a fucking in an orderly fashion, but this is not going to let me do this. It's not going to let me do this. Why wouldn't it let me do this? Why, motherfucker, why? Oh, I'm so pissed off. Anyway, okay, so small town America wants Gaza to stop. I got video of there's Italians, a bunch of Italians at like a rest stop on the highway. They get into it with some Israelis and they start saying free Palestine. In Italy, there's video I got, which I don't know if I can fucking show it because no, phone just wants to freeze up. Phone just wants to fucking freeze up. They won't let cruise ships dock in Greece. The Greeks are out there holding Palestinian flags. And the point I want to make, because here's how I'll fit it into the one fucking video that I'm pretty sure I can play. Everyone around the world is united. There's great unity. There's a unity call to stop the genocide in Palestine, and yet it's not working. Everyone everywhere is so happy that everyone is aware of this, and they're all out in the street protesting. Just doesn't do any fucking good. Because if you're out in the street protesting, you're losing. Whatever you're doing out in the street, you're fucking losing. That's not where the real fucking power is. And here's a fucking great example of it. And this video better fucking work.
We here in Europe, we live in a
Fuck. Oh, I'm not happy. My voice not working. My phone not working.
We here in Europe, we live in a democracy, right? Well, think again. For instance, here in the Netherlands, even though the entire parliament voted against participating in the CBDC, the central bank digital currency, the minister van Huffelen, this clown over here, went to the EU in Brussels and signed the agreement single-handedly, ignoring the will of both the parliament and the people. Why? Because she thinks it's important, and in her words, her opinion also counts. Also, the European Union put out a survey asking all European citizens what they think about the introduction of the CBDC. The responses were overwhelmingly negative. Everyone said, don't do it. So what do you think the EU did? Exactly. They ignored the will of the people. And in the fourth quarter of this year, the first version of the CBDC will be released. And then in the second quarter of next year, the Dutch NLID wallet will be launched. And this is where all your money will exist. And it will be fully programmable. That means they can control what you spend your money on. For example, they could restrict you to buying only 2 clothing items per month. In the name of fighting climate change, of course. Or they could require you to spend your savings before a certain date, otherwise your saving would vanish, just to stimulate the economy. At that point, we have no financial freedom left. Even though nobody wanted this, the people didn't want it, and the parliament voted against it, it's still happening. Is this a democracy or not? Let me know in the comments what you think.
What the fuck just happened there? So, you don't live in democracy. You've never experienced democracy. At best, you get to vote for the managers. The best you've experienced is you get to vote for the people who tell you what the bankers want. You have never experienced democracy. No one has. All of this shit, democracy died long before you were fucking born. Probably before your parents were born. And that the only way to change that is to fucking end the bankers, right? That's, I don't know how many ways I can approach this. I don't know how many times I can show you this from how many different angles. And I imagine you're sitting back there going, "Oh no, something. You're a dummy. You live in a 1-bedroom apartment. You have no idea what you're talking about." Except all these people from all these different fucking walks of life have figured it out, and everything type of thing that Bitcoiners have said for years and years is coming to fruition. And you are believing in a fairy tale, right? That is going to end badly, right? And that the more you think that all you have to do is Unity Call or Red Pill or Notice or write your subtly nuanced critique of neoliberal democracy and hey presto, Hitler's going to come back and fix everything. The more passive you are, the more you think somebody else is going to do all the hard, scary, difficult things, or you sit back and take credit for it, the more delusional you are. You want to snap yourself out of that thinking and don't associate with anyone who thinks that way, because you are giving up your agency. You're still being a child. Somebody else is going to come clean up the mess. That's not going to happen. It's going to have to be you, and you're going to have to start by subverting the current economic system, because all of this depends, all of this is driven by economics. You can like it or you can not like it, but that's the way it goes. Now, what did I do? Reload. Fuck, reload the page. All right, let's see if it works better now. Okay, we're scrolling a little bit. All right, that's good. We got scroll power for the moment. I got scroll power. All I have to do is all I have to do to fix things is knock myself off the screen or fucking interrupt the stream and then come back. It's that simple. So fucking simple. Why didn't I think to do that earlier? Here's more. I'll give myself a break. Give my voice a little break. Here's an example of rich people living on a fucking island who really don't like Jews. That's probably half the fucking island. Those aren't tourists. Those are the people who live there. They live there year round, and they won't let the cruise ships land. They won't let the cruise ships dock. And then, I found the Italian one. Here's the ravioli revolution.
Hello. Palestina libera.
Palestina libera.
Palestina libera.
Amen.
Qui non è Gaza qui non è Gaza. Qui siamo in Italia, siamo a Milano. Assassini.
Voilà l'Italie, andiamo l'Italie, voilà l'Italie. Voilà l'Italie. Voilà l'Italie, voilà l'Italie.
Free Palestine, free Palestine. Andate a casa vostra, assassini. Assassini.
Free Palestine.
Assassini.
Assassini.
You know what? The spaghetti wall has been broken. But yeah, everybody everywhere feels that way. Everywhere. And yet, you know, the democracy that you think you live in, you don't live in, right? Because if there's no democracy happening here, bankers control everything, they control everything. In the meantime, the people who are really over there doing that shit, I've shown this type of stuff before, but some of these guys are will definitely be remembered as heroes.
I don't really care about military footage, but this video is genuinely crazy. Two Palestinian resistance fighters, armed only with Kalashnikovs, managed to chase off an Israeli tank. At point-blank range, the two of them try and open the Israeli tank's doors before it ends up fleeing from them whilst they shoot at it with their AKs. Honestly, the cowardice of the Israeli military is ridiculous when they are not massacring civilians, calling in airstrikes, or using their superior firepower to kill Palestinians. They are nothing. They are cowards who can't even stand up to two Palestinians with small firearms. And it really just does epitomise the whole thing. On the one hand, you have brave people defending their homeland, and on the other, you have cowardly settler colonists whose very existence is owed to the British Empire that helped them crush Palestinian resistance prior to the establishment of the State of Israel, and then since that date, they have relied on colonial powers like America to ensure that they aren't defeated by anyone in the region.
Yeah, well, the guy's a little loose with the facts. It was the French that helped, that did the King David Hotel bombing. And, they got the artillery. The artillery to start the Nakba in 1948 came from Russia. But, yeah, I guess England sort of played along. What else do we have? What else do we have? Now that everything seems to be working. And the thing about the media, as if we didn't know, but I like this guy makes a really good case. When I tell you that I want these people wiped off the face of the earth, I'm not fucking joking. I want it done peacefully and legally, but I want them fucking ended. And it's things like this and the next thing I'm going to show you is the reason why these people need to be fucking ended.
Okay. You can see on the right here, the first card I showed is Theodor Herzl, the founder of modern political Zionism. Here he is receiving Moses' staff from 1901 Argentina. No, that's actually real. It's a real thing. He's often depicted as a modern-day Moses. Here he is bringing the tablets, shattering the tablets. Both these drawings are by the Zionist artist Ephraim Moshe Lilien, who also took the iconic photo of Herzl in Basel staring over the Rhine River. It's been reproduced nonstop to this day, even flipped on a rug with Jerusalem in the background. Of course, my version was from 2021, recording his thought process, and it will all be accomplished without genocide, unless... Interesting side note, in 2020, the New York Times arguing it's terrible we have a reality TV show president, therefore we're going to run a reality TV competition for our Democratic presidential endorsement, featuring our opinion editors choosing which candidates to vote off the island, etc. But if you look closely in the background as they interview the contestants for president, you'll find that photo with some kind of signature on it. I don't know if it's Herzl himself or what. Here too. I like to think that Theodor Herzl, the founder of 20th century Jewish ethno-nationalism, is hovering over the times. So when they describe textbook ethnic cleansing as a Gaza development plan or an audacious proposal or by a real estate developer, he is guiding their hearts. If I can bring it back to stamps for a moment, it's like Israel's celebratory Gaza Strip stamps from 1957, boasting of the liberated Gaza Strip. Anyway, that's the news side. So editorials. Here's an editorial 1 week after October 7th, when Israel's leaders were openly demanding and planning genocide. Israel can defend itself and uphold its values. I'm not sure it's aged so well, but that depends on how you define Israel's values. When I first saw this, I was like, what is this picture? Whose hand is that? It's a bizarre thing. Don't you agree somewhat? I think so. Anyway, I realized it's Herzl guiding the writers, and for all we know, that's Herzl himself protecting the Palestinians through his Zionist vision articulated every day in the New York Times.
They play these fucking word games. Oh, but it's not a religion, it's politics, it's a political thing, it's not a religious thing. No, it's all one fucking thing. It's all one thing, and it's all one thing, and it all needs to go. But I got a video from Nick Fuentes, one of his opponents, the one and only Candace Owens, who apparently she's chatting with the other double plus ungood wrong thinker, Tucker Carlson. But they got together, they teamed up as the dynamic anti-Semitic duo. And I guess the conversation got a little free flowing. I just got a short clip, so I didn't watch the whole thing. So I don't know where it all went. But this was something I didn't know. Like I didn't like the guy she's talking about to begin with. But I did not know it was this fucking bad. But you do sort of get to the point that you're not surprised anymore.
Has there been since Rome really a whole class of depraved people with this much power?
Like Sigmund Freud. I kind of said something on my show about how like Sigmund Freud was like a pervert and getting into children and incest, his whole theory, blaming the children for their parents being incestuous, and the reaction across the press, like, how dare she? I'm like, he's dead. Why are you defending this guy?
Not American.
He did present a theory that these children who were being raped by their fathers were actually attracted to them. Why are you defending this? And then I got educated about it and started reading books. Stunned. Like, yes, this is actually something that he was doing. And I learned this from the person who controlled the Sigmund Freud archives, who wrote this amazing book called The Assault on Truth, that actually, even though we see all this evidence that these kids are being raped, it is their fault because they're attracted to their fathers. He got kicked out of the archives for telling the truth.
Very, very famous case.
Oh yeah. He got kicked out, but he wrote the book still because he still had the letters. He published the letters to prove that Sigmund Freud knew for a fact these kids were being raped.
Boy, was he attacked for that too.
Then you have to press further and go, what is the theology here? Because everything, as my husband has taught me, is a theology. And while the rest of the world is being driven towards either being agnostic or being outwardly atheistic, I think the people that are in control are being pulled by...
Oh, they're not atheists.
They're not atheists at all.
No.
They're so close to dancing right around it, dancing right around it, dancing right around it, you know. And that's why Nick Fuentes, Agent Catboy, has been activated to take them down. I don't know what he's going to do. He's pointed out that Tucker Carlson's father was in the CIA, but anybody who knows anything about the Cold War and Radio Free Europe and Radio Free America and all that shit, you know, who funded all that? Who paid for all those radio stations? Who paid for the equipment and the electricity and all the rest? Like, who was it? You know, that magical funding, the way that this radio station or a series of radio stations around the world just happen to keep operating and broadcasting into fucking communist countries or countries we didn't like at the time. Who funded all that was never answered, and you weren't even allowed to ask, right? But it's obvious to anyone who thinks about it. When I see people, you know, like I just found out Candace Owens married some dude who's worth like $200 million or something like that. He's some French, like super rich French guy. And you know that Tucker Carlson was in the media, so he has a lot of money for a while. So you know how they can afford to sit around and talk about whatever they want to talk about. But, you know, the Nick Fuentes of the world, how do you make a fucking living? Like, how do you appear you have all kind of fucking equipment and everywhere you go on social media, there's this guy or that guy, and you know, what is your means of support? You have no visible means of support. And that invisible hand, that invisible support is always, always, always the fucking government. And here's Tucker and some other dude, some guy with a short blonde haircut, once again getting about this fucking close.
The purpose of this interview, the purpose of all questions that I've ever raised about Epstein, go back to one central question, which is who runs the world? Who's making the decisions and on whose behalf? This idea that, you know, there are all these 100 and whatever nation states each acting in its own, that's not true. And so what is true? This may point us in that direction.
A lot of people want to hear that he was an agent of this organization and like sort of have it nice and pat and tight like that. And it may be that he did more work for one than the other. He had more loyalty to one than the other, things like that. When you look at his various connections that we'll get into, maybe there's, you know, conclusions to draw there. But he was one of these guys who was kind of a freelance fixer. As you said, you know, the idea that there's 100-something independent nation states all acting in their own interest, that's a fiction today. It was a fiction yesterday. It was a fiction in the 1980s. Epstein was an asset of this network of intelligence agencies that would do these things together.
A shadowy network that uses the secret services of multiple nation states to get what it wants. But what does it want? Well, it wants more power. And who are these people? Well, here's another dude. I don't know. He's older than the first guy. Also having a chat with Tucker.
What is the view of war by the banks? Like, what do the banks think of it? You've described the banks as the single greatest control mechanism of human behavior in a society, I think.
Particularly the central banks, because they have the
bigger the bank, the more the power, but their power extends beyond just like their relations with other banks. Their power like determines a lot of what happens in your country, and they're not under the control of voters, right? So it's an extra democratic institution, which happens to be the most powerful, which is like crazy. I'd love to know how that happened, but how do they feel about war?
Well, central banking and warfare are very closely linked. The first modern major bank and central bank was the Bank of England, of course. The law founding it says what we're doing here is establishing the Bank of England. They kept that secret. We're doing a new mechanism by these investors who will be allowed to establish a company. That's the Bank of England. In order for what? In order to wage war. Do you know why the Federal Reserve was established? And there was a rush to establish it for 1914.
The year the First World War started.
Exactly.
Destroyed Europe.
You know, it sounds so much better when a dude with an English accent says it. You know, I sound like Joey Bag of Donuts, and oh fuck! Like, damn it, my phone froze up again. No. I don't. What should I? Oh, fucking goddamn. Hold on. What if I could? Can I do something? What can I fucking do? Oh, crap! Fucking son of a bitch. Oh, I'm angry. Here's what I got to do. I gotta reset. To reset this somehow. Swing. Reload. Fuck it. I'm blaming the Rumble people. That's what I'm doing. I'm blaming the fact that I'm trying to stream to two fucking locations once. And the Rumble people they're the new kids on the block. They're the Johnny Come Latelys, and so they have to bear the burden of this. So the central bankers, have a lot of influence. And how do we know this? Because Ned Beatty told us this decades ago.
Pounds and shekels. It is the international system of currency which determines the totality of life on this planet. That is the natural order of things today.
Whether it's a Hollywood movie or whether it is, an interview of some British dude. Oh, fuck it. Don't freeze up on me. Come on, let me keep doing what I was doing. Why do you do this to me? Why do you hate me so? Why do you hate me so? Why must I be cursed with poor material conditions? I'm trying to do anti-Semitism across state lines, and who knows, perhaps around the fucking world, but no, motherfucking phone won't let me. Urgh! What do I do? How do I solve this? How do I solve this problem? Well, one way I could solve the problem is to get positive feedback. Positive feedback I'd like to get is for the viewers to smash up the like button. The Rumble people, I got a couple of them once, but I think they're kind of fallen off. I don't know if they hurt their fingers or something like that. They're too busy. They're too self-important to have. It's not going to do it. I think what we do next week is ultimately we have to have priorities, right? But we have to prioritize certain things. And what we're going to do is I'll just do like the YouTube stream, and then I'll record this whole thing and re-upload it as a fucking whatever on the Rumble thing. So and that try it that way. That way, it should work better. Shouldn't have these fucking terrible freezing up and me having to fucking do this shit back and forth. What do we got? Nobody is better than their incentives, right? No human being. This is a lesson you need to accept. If you can gain something, whether it's material wealth or some other thing, without negative consequence, if you can get more of whatever it is you want without a negative consequence attached to it, you're going to do that, okay? I don't care who you are. I don't care what you pretend to believe. That's what you're going to do. And that's true for all people in all places at all times. Here's a great fucking example.
Shaolin Abbott accused of fathering over 170 children and embezzling $41.3 billion. Abbott Shi Yongsin of the Shaolin Temple is under criminal investigation for embezzling over $41.3 billion and fathering up to 174 illegitimate children. The temple's official announcement follows reports of Shi's improper relationships with multiple women and allegations of corruption. Speculation intensified when a widely circulated notice claimed Shi was intercepted, attempting to flee to the U.S. with 7 mistresses and several children. While Kaifeng police dismissed the notice as fake, they confirmed that an investigation is underway. Shi has not been seen recently, leaving many to question his whereabouts. As the situation unfolds, the Shaolin Temple urges patience for official updates from authorities.
So I don't care what do you pretend to believe? I'm a monk, I'm this, I'm that. Listen, it's all so tiresome listening to your fucking fairy tales. Your fairy tales largely suck, and you don't even tell them that well. You know, if you're honest, you don't even tell them. You don't even tell the stories that well. But everyone's going to do that. Every single fucking human being is going to do that if they get the fucking opportunity. And that's just the way it is. And you can cry about that all you want, but put you in that same situation and you react exactly the same way. And if you're sitting there going, oh no, I would never, and I would fucking, in the blink of a fucking eye, if you could gain that much, you know, life-changing wealth and hundreds of women throwing themselves at you, you're going to behave in exactly the same way. That's human nature, and you cannot overcome it. That's incentive, and you must always, when you want to have these fucking heroes, it's a bad fucking idea because no human being is better than their incentives. And the fact that, you know, these people in government will do whatever the fuck AIPAC says, it's because AIPACs get them elected and reelected. Their incentive is to keep that cushy do-nothing job where they make hundreds of thousands of dollars and they get to fuck a different intern every 2 years. And, you know, their incentive is to stay doing that, you know, and if that means, you know, whatever it takes is whatever it takes. So, and you would do exactly the same fucking thing. Oh, no, I wouldn't. I would. Listen, look at Congress. There's Thomas Massey and Margaret Taylor Greene, and they're gonna the entirety of the federal fucking government will work to get rid of them because they won't allow any fucking dissenting voices. They just won't allow it. And that's the world you live in, and you're not going to fix it. You're not going to be in a position where, oh, it's just me and my friends get hold of the keys to the money printer, and we promise not to do. Nobody wants to hear that. Like, I promise, just give the keys to the money printer to a different group of scumbags, and it'll all change. Nothing will fucking change. Nothing will change until you change it. And the longer you sit here, trading slavery coupons back and forth, or competing for a bigger pile of slavery coupons, you know, to try and work your way up the hierarchy of their fucking system, the more you invigorate their system, and you aren't going to change it. It's going to change you, and not for the better, not for the better at all. But in the meantime, there are things going on in the world that you should, rather than complain about, you should pay attention to. When I tell you that not only electric cars are going to be a thing, nuclear power is coming in every fucking way, shape, and form, and the world is going to be forced into a different method of fucking energy. This is a great fucking example. I had this from last week, but I couldn't show because the phone fucking froze up. But here's a good indication of how the fucking elites are going to live, and they're already doing it now. But they're already living in the future, and they're going to impose it on the rest of us.
So this is a 100% electric airplane that just flew from East Hampton to JFK with passengers on it, which was a first for the New York Port Authority, for the New York area. And, you know, we covered 70 odd nautical miles in 35 minutes.
To learn this one? No, how many?
The most transformative thing is that you drastically reduce the cost of flying. Charging this thing up and flying out here cost us about $8 in fuel, right? Of course, you have to pay for the pilot, you got to pay for the airplane, but fundamentally it's way less expensive. It's quieter, so the communities are happier. It's a simpler aircraft, so you're quiet, you're accessible, and people love flying it. If you ask the passengers how they liked it, we could talk to each other the whole time. There's no propeller in front of you, there's no jet engine. It's just a quiet whooshing across the plane.
They're going to electrify everything. There's going to be nuclear power plants everywhere. I remember I said, I think I told this. I said like a year ago or whatever, if the rich people could figure out how to shut off the electricity in my apartment and keep it for themselves, they would. But the electrical grid's not set up that way. But what they can do is they can have these small modular nuclear reactors that can power one data center or whatever, and they're going to have their own little power plant to keep their fucking compound or their mansion fully powered, and their little electric airplane or electric helicopter or whatever the fuck that just whooshes along silently, goes overhead, and you wouldn't even fucking know. They'll have that while you and your children and your grandchildren have an ever decaying fucking power grid that is sketchy at fucking best. And the more demands you make on it, the more they'll fuck you. You know, they'll fucking reprogram you. Oh, fucking, God damn it. Oh, wait. I can still do this. Hold on, I can still do this. They will leave you with decaying electrical infrastructure. Well, they will have their fucking mini nuclear reactors, give them a fucking George Jetson lifestyle while you live like a fucking caveman. And this is happening, and it's been happening for a while. Here's one of my favorite retards of all time, Curtis Sliwa, the founder of the Guardian Angels and a fixture in and around New York for a long time. He was on talk radio. He's running for mayor. I went to go see him one time on Staten Island. I found out he was going to be at a certain place, like auto parts store. And I said, I'll just go over and say hi. And I walked in there, and it was him and like four other guys. He's like fucking 6'6", this guy, 6'7". He's a gigantic lunatic with that red fucking hat on. And I looked at him, and I was like, I was going to say hi, and then I realized he was wearing makeup, like he was going on TV or being in a movie. And I was like, oh, that's too fucking weird. I just walked past him. Anyway, the one and only Curtis Sliwa, you know, noticing that shit doesn't work the way it's supposed to.
Let's talk condos and co-ops, because even before Zoran Mandami, the city council passed what they call Local Law 97. In 2026, this upcoming year, every condo and co-op owner has to spend $30,000 to retrofit their condo or co-op so it can be all electric. The reserves of the condo boards and co-op boards, most of them, were not going to be able to sustain that. So you're going to see people dropping their condos, dropping their co-ops, and fleeing, because how are they going to afford $30,000 a year in additional maintenance costs?
Oh, those poor landlords. Those poor condo and co-op people. Where are they going to go? They're going to go to fucking Florida, where the condos and co-ops are also fucking decaying and falling apart, and the value of that property is going down. There's a big problem with real estate in America, not the least of which that the CEO of Blackstone was shocked at. But you have high interest rates and people doing DoorDash. DoorDash drivers don't buy houses. You know what I mean? They probably don't even have money to rent a fucking house. You know what I mean? If you're doing DoorDash for $13 or $14 an hour, how are you going to rent an entire house? Unless everyone in your family, your wife, your kids, everybody's doing DoorDash at once. Everybody's doing the gig economy all at once, and you just fucking sleep in the house and do nothing else. How do you make enough money for a single family rental? I don't know. When Trump and his buddies are going to reduce the capital gains tax, I'm looking at that and a couple of other things, particularly this next thing. And I think I understand how they're going to get out of it. And I'll tell you about it on the other side.
The US housing market's about to go absolutely nuts. There's a brokerage called Christie's International. They have now created what's called a crypto real estate division, where they solely use cryptocurrency to buy and sell property. You have to realize this is a gigantic loophole that is going to completely change real estate, right? This hasn't been going on very long. They've sold over $250 million worth of real estate just using crypto. They've got another $1 billion worth of inventory that is available to people who want to buy and sell this real estate purely using cryptocurrency. You have to understand, when this happens now, if you look at legislation like what's happening in Texas, where they're trying to stop foreign investors, well, cryptocurrency is worldwide. That means an investor from any country around the world can buy and sell US real estate really quick and nice and easy. And there's almost complete anonymity, because all it takes is you set up a blind trust that owns an LLC that buys the property. Now the LLC has ownership of the home, and the owner of the LLC is protected through that blind trust. So if buying real estate through crypto becomes more mainstream, which it will do, 6 months, a year down the line, you could start to see the US housing market being flooded with people from outside of the US, and that house prices will start pumping back up again. There could be inventory issues. There's lots of problems that this can create, and it may make it even more difficult for the average home buyer to then buy a house in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So buying a home right now with all of these new buyers that may potentially flood the market may still be one of the smartest decisions that someone could make.
Okay, so you can buy your home with crypto. They don't say Bitcoin, they say crypto. And here's how I think this is going to work. I don't think it's going to be foreign investors. It's going to be Wall Street. They're going to set up 100 or 1,000 or however many of these trusts they need to set up. They're going to issue shit coins, right, to the fucking general public, to the fucking meme coin gambler degens who are going to buy into this, and not even those, but other people, because crypto is the future. They're going to rug pull them, right? Take that cash and use the trust to buy the home that they already own from themselves. Donald Trump's going to allow them to do it without a capital gains tax hit, and the whole thing is going to be a fucking scam. They're going to sell the house to themselves for a higher and higher and higher price, keeping the house off the market, keeping homes out of range for the average home buyer in America. And that, I think, is going to be the scam. And that's going to be a great fucking scam, because the way that the guy described it is some LLC, which is owned by a trust, which you can't, You have no legal right to know who's in the trust. You think it's an individual. It's not going to be an individual. It's going to be part of, fucking BlackRock or Blackstone or one of these other fucking things. And they'll have 10,000 trusts or 50,000 trusts or whatever they need. Somewhere, somehow, they will issue a shit coin out of fucking thin air, right? Rug pull, use that money to fucking buy the house that they can't get rid of to a regular homeowner, to a first-time homeowner. And they'll do that. You want to talk about a fucking Ponzi scheme? That's a Ponzi scheme of fucking Ponzi schemes. I think that's might be what they do. I think that's really possible. And no one will be able to figure it out, again, because these private trusts, I don't know how you get legal authority to find out who owns those trusts. I don't think you'll be able to do that. I think that'll be a perfect way for them to hide their little scheme, and no one will ever know, like, oh my God, everyone's buying up all these houses. We thought the housing market was going to crash. It's not going to crash. But yes, eventually it will crash. And now the phone's frozen again. Phone is frozen again, but I think I got everything. What the fuck is that? Ooh, do I dare click on it? Do I dare? Yeah, let's give it a shot.
Okay. You can see on the right here, the first card I showed is Theodor Herzl, the founder of modern political Zionism.
All right, it's Herzl again. I couldn't see what the because I can see the thumbnail, but I can't see what that I already clicked on. Anyway, so that's where I think things are. You don't own enough Bitcoin. In the EU, they're doing CBDCs. They're gonna make money fucking vanish. Every bad thing is coming, and the sooner you begin to prepare for it, the better off you're going to be. And by prepare for it, I don't mean red pill. I don't mean write your 600-page fucking nuanced critique of neoliberal democracy, which you don't even know what it is because you never lived under fucking democracy. But what you need to do is make the decision that you're going to trade your government money, your physical slavery coupons for Bitcoin. That's what you need to fucking do. And you need to do that over and over and over again, as much as you can, because that's the best preparation for when all of this shit ultimately hits the fan. But next week, I'm not going to do the twin broadcast because this phone just can't handle it. But yeah, don't go to any protests. Do what is boring and practical and will work in the long run and will benefit you. It will directly benefit you. So do that, and we will, bit by bit, peacefully and legally, remove the elites from this earth forever. Peacefully and legally. Anyway, with that, Virgil Doc Purple Heart, everybody that else is lurking in the background, even the Rumble people who don't hit the like button often enough, but there's still a couple of people do it anyway. Thanks for stopping by, guys, and I'll talk to you again next week.